Andrea Sok, founder and CEO of Sok Influencer PR, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
You won't have to be good at math to discover the benefits of a fractional CCO, CMO. Andrea, what do you mean when you use that expression, that description?
So I think about a fractional CCO or CMO as really high level strategic expertise, but on a part-time basis. So you're giving businesses access to top tier talent, but at a more cost-effective rate.
Yeah, and for context, in addition to serving as fractional CCO or CMO at organizations, you also do other marketing work. Can you maybe explain a little bit about the range of services you offer?
Yeah, so when you think about a fractional arrangement, you look at really two different scenarios. So one, you're coming in with a defined start and end date. And so a lot of times you're coming in to do all the marketing services, and there's generally a team in place. It could be for a product launch or for an interim basis because somebody's on a parental leave. So you're running all the marketing functions. But then there's also the secondary option where you're coming into a business who maybe has never done marketing before. They need some direction. And so you're going to be selective about what services you're offering. Maybe you're going to focus strictly on building out their social media, or maybe you're going to focus strictly on building the executive's presence. And some of those other marketing services are either going to be contracted out or they're just not in the plan for the next year or so. So you're looking at really kind of two different scenarios when you're talking about a fractional and what they're coming in and the services that they're providing.
I would think one advantage is because the people that you're meeting with know it's somewhat temporary, it's not as much stress as if there's a full-time person being hired to sort of learn from them to do their jobs better. What are some of the keys to getting started?
The first step that I always do is you need to come in and listen. So understand where they are, what's that current scenario, who are the players? Are they working with some contractors? Are they outsourcing some services? Do they have a part-time person or even a full-time junior marketing person already on staff? Who's doing the marketing and communications? So first listen, and that will also alleviate some of that tension that you could feel if you are coming into in a situation where there's already staff in place. Really hearing what they're doing, what are they working on, and taking all that in before you word vomit with all your suggestions and put that plan in place. So really take that first step of listening, understanding what's the current scenario, and then where do they want to go? What are those goals? What are those objectives that they want to see happen in that first 30, 60, 90 days, or even within, big picture, 5, 10 years, where do they want to go with their marketing communications efforts?
So if your organization has hired a fractional CCO or CMO, where should they expect to be in 90 days? I know you start with listening.
The roadmap. They really want them to walk away with a roadmap. You should know where you're going and how you're going to get there. I think about it in terms of a recipe for how you want to build your business, build your marketing and communications functions. So you should walk away, or at least in that first 90 days, know what your roadmap is and have a clear direction, and everyone be on the same page as to where you're going and what are the steps you're going to take to get there.
Do you have any advice for people who are currently working at an organization and then you or maybe some other fractional CCO comes in? How can a person who's already at the organization learn the most and help advance their own careers through that process?
It's a great opportunity to get an outside perspective. So again, the benefit of a fractional is that you have that expertise, and that person generally has worked at many other companies. And so they've seen different scenarios. They've been in different situations. So if you're that person that's internal and working with that fractional for the first time, take the opportunity to pick their brain and find out how they handled certain situations, or ask to sit in on meetings and really be a part of the strategy and be a part of the solution, because also at the end of the day, you're going to be responsible for helping to execute, and so really make it a win-win for yourself. Get the expertise, but also be a part of the planning and the strategy and the execution, and so that everyone can be successful at the end of the day.
Can you maybe share some examples and anonymized if need be? We totally get that, of maybe an approach or something that surprised you when you took it on. You didn't necessarily realize what a solution might be and how you learned about that and what the path forward was.
So one of the advantages of being a fractional is also I'm a fractional for other, multiple companies at one time. And so a lot of times I'll take lessons that I've learned with one company and I'll share that with another company. Again, it's all anonymous and, but really giving that feedback. And so one example, I work with a green consulting firm. I've been working with them for several years. They're definitely this situation where they're a smaller business and they just don't need a full-time executive. They actually have a fractional CFO as well. So they're very familiar with the fractional format, but she's always willing to try new things. So a lot of times we'll experiment with new things, new releases that have been released onto the market. So LinkedIn will add a new feature or Meta will add a new ads opportunity. And so we'll try a lot of those things. And when we see successes, I can take those successes and translate those to some of my other businesses that I work with. And so I'll share with them, hey, we tried this on LinkedIn. We saw some great leads from it. I recommend it for you. And so it's a great opportunity to kind of share best practices between businesses without them actually having to even, take the time. I'm the one that's sourcing and I'm trying and testing, and then I'm taking it to their business.
Any final thoughts for maybe an organization that isn't using a fractional CCO or CMO, but can maybe learn from how you approach it when you come in with such a blank slate, and how people should maybe try and internalize that and do that for their own organizations?
I'd like to think of the fractional also as an opportunity to really brainstorm ideas and at that strategic level, take advantage of somebody, again, who's outside of your business. I tend to work with the CEO, the founder. They're very ingrained, they're very passionate, but they see things one way because they've been doing it for so long. And so it's oftentimes an eye-opening experience to work with somebody and say, oh, I never even thought of it that way. And so really, meet with somebody. Do an introductory call. I know most fractionals will do an introductory call just to brainstorm and pick your brain about their scenario and do it on a part-time trial basis. And you can see if it's something that you like, and that relationship and that brainstorming and that executive level thought is something that my clients really value, is having somebody to bounce their ideas off of, to we say to really weed the pool from all those ideas that you have going on in your brain. We'll weed the pool and try and test, and it's just that last executive level brain dump.
Yeah, well, you've done a great job of sort of clarifying that role going forward. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
An executive level leadership is a really challenging and tricky position to fill. And that's, you can talk to any recruiter. It's one of the hardest positions to fill, but a fractional really gives you that opportunity to bring in that executive level leadership without committing to that full-time cost and that full-time commitment. And so really, I recommend to people to meet with somebody, brainstorm, get those ideas out, and then, you can see if the situation's right for you. And if it's not, then you can move on. So it's an opportunity to really try and test executive level leadership and see if that relationship is for you.
Thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.